Okay, okay.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. Hello, everyone. Can I share my screen? Hello.
Wait for 2 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah.
We will introduce you first, then you can share your screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, Pratna ma'am.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
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 Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Dhanashri ma'am. Dhanashri ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. We will start within 1 minute.
Okay, ma'am.
It's already 4 o'clock. Dhanashri ma'am, please start.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am.
Dr. Manoj sir, please mute your mic.
Dr. Manoj, please unmute. Mute yourself.
Good afternoon, all. Myself, Dr. Dhanashri Mahajan, will be jointly coordinating this webinar with Dr. Dipali Rajput ma'am. We welcome you all in the sixth webinar of NEMA OBGY Bonanza webinar series on behalf of NEMA OBGY Central. Today's topic is cervical cancer. Let's start the session with Dhanvantari Mantra. With देवाय धन्वंतरे अमृतकलाय विनाशनाख्यनाथाय Shri. On behalf of NEMA OBGYN Central, I welcome to all the dignitaries and delegates for today's decent and knowledgeable session on cervical cancer with Ayurvedic insight. We are fortunate enough to have Dr. Pradnya Aptikar ma'am as a guest speaker. I welcome you, ma'am. I welcome all the dignitaries present here. Dr. Vinayak Temburnekar sir, President of NEMA Central, Dr. U.S. Pandey sir, Secretary of NEMA Central, Dr. Ashutosh Kulkarni sir, treasurer of NIMA Central.
कल एक
Then
था सुबह का, वो CS हो गया ऐसा बोल रहे थे।
participants, please mute
हाँ मैम, मतलब
yourself.
वो सर्वाइकल डायलिटेशन
Dr. Sheila.
मेन मैम की देखते होंगे अच्छे से, क्योंकि वो लोग सिस्टर लोग आए थे करने, तो मैंने पूछा उन लोगों को कौन है, तो सिस्टर के भी सबसे हेड है ऐसा कुछ
Dr. Sheila,
वो आके पीवी करके
please mute
चले गए।
yourself.
वो लोग आए थे, पहले उसने किया, फिर दूसरे सिस्टर ने मैं भी करूँ करके किया। तो स्टूडेंट ने पूछा कितना है, तो बोले 6-7 फिंगर है, इतना है। 5-6 एक 5-6 बोल रही थी, एक 6-7 बोल रही थी। तो
Dr.
मैंने
Dhanashri, you can mute herself from your end.
है, तो वो बोले
Yes, ma'am.
5-6 है, 5-6 फिंगर है, तो मतलब हाँ इफेसमेंट नहीं देखे, जस्ट डायलिटेशन देखे हैं, तो बोले हाँ डायलिटेशन ही देखते हैं हम लोग, बाकी कुछ नहीं देखते ऐसा। तो हम तो मतलब इफेसमेंट, डायलिटेशन, स्टेशन कितना है वो सब देखते हैं ना। तो
Sheila, Sheila.
मैम म्यूट कर दीजिए उन्हें।
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
हाँ
Yes, yes.
हाँ पता नहीं
yes.
वो ऐसे।
Then Dr. Kamini Dhiman ma'am, President of NIMA OBGYN Central. Dr. Priyanka Nakare ma'am, Secretary of NIMA OBGYN Central. Dr. Vishnu Pavane sir, Treasurer of NIMA OBGYN Central. Dr. Rajesh Utane sir, National Coordinator NIMA OBGYN Central. I would like to welcome Dr. Suhas Herlikar sir, President of NIMA OBGYN Maharashtra. Dr. Manoj Gaikwad sir, Secretary of NIMA. Let's overlook on objectives of NIMA to foster education in the subject of integrated family welfare and allied topics with integrated approach of Indian medicine with modern science. To encourage as well as promote and participate in the study and research in the field of integrated obstetrics, gynecology, human reproduction, maternal and child health and contraception control and allied subjects. To organize or participate and cooperate with the field camps, clinics, hospitals, and other health dialogue, discussion meetings, and correspondence between our association and other bodies, agencies, governmental and non-governmental. Before going further, a kind request to all participants to please keep your mobile phone muted during session. If your mic is found unmuted or disturbing with speaker's voice, you will be either kept in waiting room or removed from the session to maintain decorum of the program and to avoid disrespect of speaker. If you have any query, put it in the chat box or raise your hand. To get certificate, please fill up the feedback form. Link is given in the chat box. Atulam tatra tattejah sarvadeva sharirajam ekastham tadbhunnari vyapt lokatrayam tvishaha. The incomparable radiance that was born from all gods and pervaded the three worlds come to one place and took the form of woman. Such an importance is given to the woman. Ayurveda is always taking care of health of woman at enemy to the woman's health. Out of cancer death among women worldwide. Primary prevention and screening are by far most effective modalities for decreasing the healthcare burden and mortality attributed to cervical cancer. If detected early, cervical cancer is one of the most successfully treatable form of cancer. So, in today's lecture, Dr. Pradnya Aptekar ma'am will enlighten on Rajput ma'am to please introduce our. Over to you, Dipali ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Dhanashri. Good afternoon,
Dipali
everyone.
ma'am.
Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
hear
You are
me?
audible. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you,
ma'am.
Dr.
Yes, ma'am.
Dhanashri.
Continue.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my great pleasure to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Pradnya Aptekar ma'am, who is practicing as an Ayurvedic gynecologist in Thane since last 21 years. Ma'am is a gold medalist, completed her graduation and post-graduation from Tirak Mahavidyalaya, Pune. She has also done her MA Sanskrit and numerous certificate courses, laparoscopy, colposcopy, IVF, and she is currently pursuing her PhD. Ma'am is president of Ayurved Vyaspeeth, Thane branch since 2015 and received various awards such as Vaidya Khadiwale Trust, Vaidya Lakshmibai Borwankar Sri Vaidya Puraskar in 2015-17, Karyabhushan Puraskar by Rashtriya Shikshan Mandal Pune in 2021. Ma'am has published various papers in national and international journals and also was an editor of the book PCOD published by Ayurved Vyaspeeth. She has recently won the Best Paper Award for a case report of baby. Seema ma'am, please mute yourself. Gandhali Ajsekar, please mute yourself. Ma'am has recently won the Best Paper Award, a case report on baby with congenital hypothyroidism treated with Ayurvedic medicines in November 2022. Infertility, endometriosis, endocrinal disorders are ma'am's area of interest. Today, she is going to share her insight on cervical cancer, the second most common cancer in females in India. Hence, now we welcome our today's speaker, Dr. Pradnya Aptekar ma'am. Ma'am, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepali, for introducing me.
Thank you, ma'am.
First of all, I'm thankful to Dr. Priyanka madam, Dr. Premraj Khairnar for introducing me in NIBA OBGYN Central platform. And thank you, Dr. Dhanashri. Let us start with the cervical cancer. In my lecture, I would like to recap about the cervical cancer in the modern way also, and after that I will come to the Ayurvedic insights. So just give me 1 sec. I will share my screen first. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I will correct. So I will shut my video to get proper lecture. Yeah. Okay, so let us start with the cervical cancer. As everyone know, as cancer can occur in any part of the female reproductive system, the vulva, vagina, cervix, uterus, fallopian tubes, or ovaries. These cancers are called as gynecological cancers. It is the 5th most common cancer in humans and the 2nd most common cancer in women worldwide, and the most common cancer cause of death in developing countries. Sexually transmitted human papilloma virus, that is the HPV infection, is the most important risk factor for cervical intraepithelial neoplasia and the invasive cervical cancer. So normally patient comes to Ayurveda in very later stage as a final hope. Patient comes to us as an adjuvant treatment to chemotherapy or radiotherapy. And patient comes with all the reports like biopsy, histopathology, CT scan, MRI, etc. Hence, we might become prejudiced with modern diagnosis and also with the prognosis. It is very important to examine the patient from Ayurvedic perspective for the diagnosis and the prognosis also. Still, we must have adequate knowledge about the cancer and its stages. Sometimes patient comes to us for other symptoms, and the symptoms could turn out to be cancerous. Hence, first we will look forward to the modern diagnosis and other details about the cervical cancer. So, cervical carcinoma continues to occupy the leading position among the neoplastic diseases of the reproductive organs in women. Cervical cancer is often diagnosed between the ages of 35 and 44. Hence, pap smear screening test is mandatory after 40 years of age in many countries like USA. Incidence rates for the disease dropped by more than 50% between 1975 and 2015 due to part to an increase in screening, which can find cervical changes before they turn cancerous. Here, Ayurveda plays pivotal role in prevention of cervical cancer. That we will be discussing this in detail. Cervical cancers are diagnosed in women over age 65. It is rare for women younger than 20 to develop cervical cancer. So it is the fourth most frequent cancer in women, estimated 5,70,000 new cases in 2018, representing 6.6% of all female cancers. Approximately 90% of deaths from cervical cancer occurred in low and middle income countries. The high mortality rate from cervical cancer globally could be reduced through a comprehensive approach that includes prevention, early diagnosis, effective screening, and the treatment programs. Please ask someone to. Yeah, thank you. So it is the Indian scenario of HPV infection. So there are currently several cervical cancer research programs in India. The National Cancer Registry program established by ICMR, that is Indian Council of Medical Research, acts as a surveillance system for cervical cancer or any cancer in India. It collects the data in an active manner, visiting government and private sector hospitals, specialized cancer hospitals and pathology laboratories to get information on the types and magnitude of cancer. So it is the reference I have given. So normally India has a population of approximately 365.70 million women above 15 years of age who are at risk of developing cervical cancer. Then the current estimates indicate approximately 1,32,000 new cases diagnosed and 74,000 deaths annually in India. Now you can understand how the severity of this cervical cancer is, accounting nearly 1/3 of the global cervical cancer deaths that occurs in India only. So Indian women face 2.5% cumulative lifetime risk and 1.4% cumulative death risk from cervical cancer. So at any given time, about 6.6% of women in general population are estimated to harbor cervical HPV infection of serotype 16 and 18, account for nearly 76.7% of cervical cancer in India. So these are the stages: normal, CIN1, CIN2, CIN3, or the adenocarcinoma in situ, and then the invasive cancer. So this is the progression of CIN2 cancer. So CIN1 includes mild dysplasia, condyloma, or anogenital warts. CIN2 includes moderate dysplasia. Up to CIN2, these are precancerous stages, and CIN3 includes severe dysplasia and carcinoma in situ. So current investigation indicate the fundamental importance of initiation of carcinogenesis within the cervix is HPV infection. Out of more than 100 antigen differentiated HPV types, approximately 30 are characterized by an affinity for epithelium of lower female genital. Look, there are 30 out of 100. So now we are looking in detail for the stages of cervical cancer. As you already know, but I know there are many PG students also, those who are watching this. So goes in detail little bit. We will have a rapid reading or rapid covering of this topic. So in stage 1, this is the spread from the cervix lining into the deeper tissue only. But it is still just found in the uterus. It has not spread to other parts of the body. Then there are stages: first, A1, A2, then B, B1, B2, B3. So in A1, the cancerous area is less than 3 millimeters. Now listen this carefully. So 3 mm in depth. So depth is important. In A2, the area is 3 mm to less than 5 mm in depth. First B, tumor is larger, but it is still confined to the cervix only, no distant spread. IB1, tumor is 5 mm or more, but less than 2 centimeters. Okay, IB2 is 2 centimeter, but less than 4 centimeter wide. IB3, it is 4 centimeter or more in width. So you can say the first stage is up to 3 millimeters to 4 centimeters, which includes A and B. So in stage 2, it has spread beyond the uterus to nearby areas, such as the vagina or tissue near the cervix, but it is still inside the pelvic area. So here also we have the classification, that is second A1, second A2 and second B. Second A1, again, the tumor is limited to the upper 2/3 of vagina and not spread to the tissue next to the cervix, which is called as the parametrial area. Second A1 is the tumor is less than 4 centimeter. Second A2 is tumor is 4 centimeter or more in width. Then third, the tumor involves the lower third of vagina and has spread to the pelvic wall and regional lymph nodes. So stage 2B, so stage 3A involves lower third of vagina but not grown to the pelvic wall. Third B is pelvic wall and also may affect kidney. Third C, that is C3, that is third C, tumor involves regional lymph nodes also. Then stage 4.
just message आला की तू होस्ट झाली म्हणून.
Hello, please unmute. In stage C1 and C2 and C3, in C2, the cancer has spread to para-aortic lymph nodes. The lymph nodes are found in the abdomen near the base of spine, near aorta, major artery that runs from the heart to abdomen. Then it is 4A and 4B. 4 is this cancer has spread to the bladder or rectum, but it is not spread other parts of the body. And 4B is the metastasis spread to the other parts of the body also. So these are the risk factors. Considering all the risk factors, we can say, but HPV is the necessary cause of the cervical cancer. But it is not only the sufficient cause, other cofactors are also necessary for the progression from cervical HPV infection to cancer. Okay, the first trigger factor is HPV infection, but for the progression of cancer, other risk factors or the cofactors are necessary, such as long-term use of hormonal contraceptives, high parity, early initiation of sexual activity, multiple sex partners, then the tobacco smoking and co-infection with HIV have been identified or the established cofactors. Then another factor is cofactor like co-infection with chlamydia, trachomonas, then herpes simplex virus type 2, immunosuppression, low socioeconomic status, poor hygiene, low diet low in antioxidants are the probable cofactors. Genetic and immunological host factors and viral factors such as variants of type, viral load, viral integration are likely to be more important. So in short, the first trigger factor is HPV, then many sexual partners or becoming sexually active early, certain genetic factors, long-term mental stress, several pregnancies, giving birth at very young age, smoking and weakened immune system are the major causes of cervical cancer. So you can see here human papilloma virus capable of infecting humans. Then It can lead to cancers of cervix, vulva, vagina, penis, oropharynx, and anus. The transmission is obviously sexual contacts. The clinical diagnosis of HPV is based upon the appearance of warts on the external genitalia, which are usually due to low oncogenic potential virus. Warty lesions on cervix and upper vagina usually indicate infection with high oncogenic virus. Cytology, pap smear, colposcopy, and histology, that is the biopsy, are the important tools to diagnose HPV infection and the cancer stage. Molecular biology is reliable but expensive test. HPV DNA detection can also be done by PCR. Genital swabs and cervical biopsies can be tested. Here you can see the important factors about the important characteristics, qualities of the HPV. They are small non-enveloped DNA viruses. They are classified according to the DNA sequencing using L1 open reading frame of genome. Over 100 serotypes of HPV have been diagnosed, of which 15 to 20 are oncogenic. And the lag period between the oncogenic HPV infection, or you can say the incubation period also, of HPV infection to the invasive cancer, it will take 15 to 20 years. Worldwide, high-risk type of HPV 16 and 18 contribute over 70% of cervical cancer cases. And the most prevalent being HPV 16, at least 50 to 60%, and HPV 18 in at least 10 to 12%. Similarly, in Indian women, the most common prevalent genotypes are HPV 16 and HPV 18. Non-oncogenic HPV serotypes 6 and 11 contribute over 90% of benign genital infections such as genital warts. Oncogenic HPV serotypes have also been implicated in the causation of anal, vulvar, vaginal, penile, and oropharyngeal cancers. So again, come back to the CI and to the cancer cervix. Here you can see the transient infection and you can see the cytology also. The first two slides, the first two pictures of cervix are transient infection. HPV, please unmute.
ऐसा करो इसकी बाकी दवाई तो बंद कर दो, शुगर वाली चलने दो.
Organizers, please unmute everyone from your end. So you can see the transient infection, first two pictures. Here HPV can be treated and again come to the normal, cervix can be normal. And the persistent HPV, you can see the dirty picture or the ugly picture of the cervix that can convert it into the CA cervix. This is the persistent HPV infection. So progression of CIN to the cancer cervix. Here HPV is normally HPV infection is common and about 10% of all women have it sometime in their reproductive life. HPV infection is not a disease. Body immunity can overcome it. Almost 70% of the HPV infection regress and become normal over a period of 6 months to 1 year. However, if the lesion persists or progresses or recurs, it needs further treatment. So it is the normal cervix infection, HPV infected cervix. If treated or immunity overcomes it, then it goes in regression and the cervix becomes normal. Or otherwise, if it get in progression, it can lead to precancer and then the invasive cancer. So here, prevention of cervical cancer by modern science is the cervical cancer vaccine. HPV type 16 and 18 involves not only the uterus, cervix, but also the vagina and vulva. So, it is I am here the picture of Gardasil, which is quadrivalent. So it is protects against the HPV of 4 types: 16, 18, 6, and 11. And the Cervarix is bivalent, Both are preventive vaccines. So it is clear they do not treat the HPV infection or the cervical cancer. Once you have become the HPV infected patient or the cervical cancer, there is no use of cervical cancer vaccine. So both are preventive vaccine. Then the prevention of cervical cancer is by either by vaccine or early HPV detection, pap smear screening, colposcopy in positive pap smear patients, and cervical biopsy in positive colposcopy patients. Now, recently, India's first cervical cancer vaccine is now launched. It is the Cervivac. Now it is low cost alternative vaccine. Otherwise, the Gardasil is too costly. It costs about 3,000 or 4,000 per shot, and it requires 3 shots. So now India has launched the low cost alternative vaccine. So girls between 9 to 14 years of age likely to be administered the vaccine under the National Immunization Program in next few months. So I think everyone is here gynecologist, so everyone know about the pap smear. So just the rapid revision again. So it's a pap smear is done as a part of gynecological examination. It is the examination pap smear. The smear is examined under the microscope of scale scrap from the tip of the cervix, and the cervix is so early detection of precancerous cells allows intervention that may well prevent the woman in developing cancer. It can detect cancerous or precancerous condition of the cervix. Most invasive cancers of the cervix can be detected early if women have pap test and the pelvic examinations. Then the indication of pap smear. Here age is more than 40 years, multiple sexual partners, history of cervical cancer in close relation, especially in maternal relation, mother or grandmother, postmenopausal bleeding, bleeding after coitus, persistent leukorrhea after subtotal hysterectomy. Now subtotal hysterectomy is nobody is doing, but we can have the I think 80 years or 70 years of patients who are having the history of subtotal hysterectomy. So do pelvic examinations of such patients who are having the history of subtotal hysterectomy. Then the chronic PID, etc. So this is the how the pap smear is test performed. Everyone is aware of this. So now come to the main slide, that is the pap smear results. That is the normal results. There's no abnormal cells present. Then the abnormal results are ASCUS or the AGUS, that is the or the low grade dysplasia, HSIL, that's a high grade dysplasia. This means the pre-cancer changes are likely to be present, or the risk of cancer is greater if the result is HSIL, or the carcinoma, that is the carcinoma in situ. That means the abnormal changes are likely to progress to cancer. Then atypical squamous cell is ASCH, that is the abnormal changes have been found and maybe HSIL. That is the high grade squamous intraepithelial lesion, HSIL, low grade, that is LSIL. Then the atypical glandular cells, that is the cell changes are seen, such as pre-cancer of the upper part of cervical canal, that is the inside the uterus. So in the endocervical canal, there is a transformation zone. In this region, the squamoepithelial metaplasia occurs. This process consists of differentiation and maturation undifferentiated reserve cells into squamous or glandular epithelium, infecting these immature cells, which are highly susceptible, highly vulnerable to various external internal agents like HPV virus. This virus, HPV virus, disturbs the process of their maturation and differentiation. This is the main pathology of cervical cancer. So these cells are scrapped during the pap smear, and we can get an idea about the cytology. The pathologist can observe these abnormal cells, and here Ayurveda again has his potential in treating ascus, LSIL, HSIL, then ASCH, AGC, and CIN1 and CIN2. Ayurvedic treatment can reverse the abnormal cellular pathology to the normal. But once the carcinoma in situ progresses, we, as Ayurvedic doctor, we have less potential, but in up to CIN2, we have high potential to treat the patient. Then the liquid-based cytology nowadays we are doing, that is the thin layer cytology, also commonly referred as liquid-based cytology, LBC, is a technique that employs a special liquid preservative which immediately maintains the quantity of cells obtained for the cytological analysis. You can see here the LBC versus the conventional pap smear. In LBC, we have directly cells, and in pap smear, we may have some other debris also. So we may underdiagnose the patient also. So here I am giving one reference of paper in oncology reports, a comparison of liquid-based cytology and the pap smear as a screening method for the cervical cancer. So here is you can observe the one graph also. So here you can see the results from the second ordinary pap smear from 137 enrolled women showed the atypical squamous cells of undetermined significance, that is the ascus, in 11%, only 11 cases, that is the 8%, and the low-grade squamous intraepithelial lesions, that is LSIL, in 40%, 40 cases, that is the 29%. More advanced lesion and a more advanced lesion, that is the HSIL. So with the parallel liquid-based material, ascus reported significantly less. So what do you mean? What do you mean by that? The ascus means we are not getting any idea, is only the atypical cells. So with LBC, we get the differentiation or the specificity about our diagnosis, that is how much it is LSIL and how much it is HSIL. So our diagnosis become more effective with the liquid-based cytology. Then the cases of CIN2 plus found from the liquid-based material were considerably more often diagnosed as HSIL. So we get specific or the perfect diagnosis with the liquid-based cytology over the pap smear. So just how the those who are with the more with the pap smear or the LBC and the pathology background, just it is the spot diagnosis or the spot rapid fire questions. It is a normal pap smear. You can just see the healthy cells and see the nucleus and the cytoplasm, the size of nucleus. So it is the normal pap smear. Here you can say see the cervical cells under the microscope. Again, the normal cell, dysplastic cells, and the cancer cells you can see. Here you can see the dysplasia is the another way to describe the abnormal cell changes in the cervix. It means that the cells are different from the normal cells in size, then shape, and the organization within the tissue. Dysplasia almost always refers to the precancerous condition. So normal cells, you can see again here the nucleus, size of nucleus. Dysplasia, CIN1, CIN2, CIN3. You can see the three sections in dysplasia. See, observe the nucleus and observe the nucleus and the size and shape of the cells in the cancer under the microscope. So types of dysplasia. Here, based how much abnormal cells look like normal cells. Okay. This is the main sentence. Based on how much the abnormal cells look like normal cells. Mild dysplasia means cells look slightly different from the normal cells. Moderate dysplasia means the cells look quite different from the normal cells. And severe dysplasia means the cells look very different. That is the totally differentiation. That is the ill differentiated. We can see the pathology report. Ill differentiated. We cannot differentiate the normal cells and the abnormal cells. That is the severe dysplasia. Again, you can see the squamous cell carcinoma of the cervix. This is the pap smear of the squamous cell carcinoma of the cervix. Then this is CIN pap smear. Out of that, in CIN1, that is LSIL, low grade squamous intraepithelial lesion. Then HSIL again differentiated into CIN2 and CIN3. Then, as I said earlier, when the positive PAP is there, it is the indication for the colposcopy. So what are the indication of colposcopy? That is the abnormal PAPS results, positive HPV test, abnormal findings in pelvic examination, and when we need the biopsies, it should be colposcopy guided biopsy. We will see in detail in later. So what do you mean by colposcopy? That is the diagnostic procedure that allows to check your cervix, the wall or the vaginal wall for the abnormal tissue. During the procedure, a special lighted microscope called as the colposcope. It magnifies the tissue that lines your cervix and vagina, and if needed, biopsy can be taken from an abnormal lesion for perfect diagnosis. So here you can see a biopsy removes tissues or cells from the body, so that with the help of colposcopy, what these are the test or methods we can do. That is, the one is pap smear, the HPV testing, punch biopsy, endocervical curettage, cone biopsy, and the leap method. So a biopsy removes tissues or cells from the body, so they can be examined under microscope to check for cancer. A biopsy can be done during colposcopy. Endocervical curettage is a type of biopsy again. It uses a special tool called curette to remove cells from the endocervical canal. It can be used to collect cells so that they can be examined under microscope to check the cancer. Then cryosurgery uses extreme cold, usually liquid nitrogen or carbon dioxide, to freeze and destroy the abnormal cells or tissues. This is the cryosurgery is the treatment modality, and the laser surgery is also a treatment modality. So with the high intensity beam of light of laser, they remove the abnormal tissues. Then a cone biopsy, which removes cone-shaped piece of tissue from the cervix. It can be done using a surgical scalpel, loop electrosurgical excision procedure, that is LEEP, L-E-E-P, loop electrosurgical excision method, or the procedure, or the laser surgery. Then the doctors, we have to send this removed tissue to the lab or examine under microscope. And the LEEP is a type of cone biopsy only. It uses thin wire heated by electrical current to remove tissue from the cervix. Then again, it is the important part of our lecture right now. The squamous epithelium and the columnar epithelium meet at a line called as the squamo-columnar junction, that is the SCJ. What is the importance of SCJ? Is the SCJ is visible as the junction between the pink squamous epithelium and the red columnar epithelium after the cervix is cleaned with the normal saline. Look at the first picture. Then SCJ is much better visualized after the application of acetic acid as a distinct white line. So look at the second picture. Then the junction between the brown squamous epithelium and the red columnar epithelium is also quite evident after the application of Lugol's iodine. Look at the third picture. So colposcopists must try to trace the SCJ along its entire course. The SCJ is easily identified if it is at the external os or on the ectocervix. So watch the fourth picture. The cervix must be manipulated with the endocervical speculum. This is a different speculum rather than the normal speculum, to visualize the SCJ that extends inside the endocervix. Failure to correctly identify the SCJ is the most common error in colposcopy. Okay. To identify the SCJ correctly, the columnar epithelium should be traced to its lowest extent, rather than trying to locate the highest appearance extent of the squamous epithelium. So observe the fourth and fifth picture. The fifth is at the just outside, that is at the external os, and the SCJ on the ectocervix, it is deep inside the endocervical canal. So again, it is the most important part of the cervical cancer. Again, it is the squamous metaplasia of the cervix. Look at the cytology and the cervix on per speculum examination. The yellow arrow represents the squamous metaplasia of the cervix. So what do you mean by, again, metaplasia? So we will have some information about the metaplasia. So actually at the birth, there is an abrupt junction between the squamous epithelium of ectocervix, that is the original squamous epithelium, and the columnar epithelium of the endocervix. At puberty, this SCJ lies at the external os. Through exposure to estrogen at birth, during puberty, and throughout the reproductive life, there is exposure to the estrogen. The female genital organs, including cervix, grow in size, and as a result, the endocervical canal gets everted, exposing columnar epithelium to the vagina, and it is called as the ectopy. And sometimes this column, if you remember, if this squamous epithelium is get replaced by the columnar epithelium, it is called as the cervical erosion. Then, so this eversion exposes the columnar epithelium of the endocervix to the acidic vaginal pH. This acidity, along with the other factors, stimulates the replacement of columnar epithelium with squamous epithelium. This process is called as the metaplasia. I will repeat this sentence. The vaginal acidity, along with the other factors, stimulates the replacement of columnar epithelium with squamous epithelium. This process is called as the metaplasia. In erosion, the process is actually opposite. The squamous epithelium, the normal squamous epithelium, is get replaced by the columnar epithelium. But it's squamous metaplasia, the squamous epithelium, the columnar epithelium is get replaced by the squamous epithelium. Okay, so look at the picture. The yellow line is the original SCJ, now no more visible. The blue line is the new SCJ, and yellow arrows, that is the direction of metaplastic changes. It is going inward. Okay, so after this process is completed, you can see the second picture. That is the mature cervix after completion of metaplastic processes. The blue line, new SCJ, and the yellow line, probably the original SCJ, but it is no longer visible now. So metaplasia results in the formation of new squamocolumnar junction. The area between the original SCJ and the new SCJ is known as the transformation zone. Now listen carefully. So this is called as the area between, this is the transformation zone. This is the transformation zone. Okay, the metaplastic changes usually start from the periphery of the ectropion and spread towards the external os. Changes can also occur in discrete patches on the columnar epithelium. The new squamous cells originate from the totipotent reserve cells that remain dormant beneath the columnar cells. The process of metaplasia starts with the fusion of tips of villi, followed by the covering of columnar epithelium by the thin transparent immature epithelium. The immature epithelium matures with gradual proliferation and the differentiation of the squamous cells. The mature squamous epithelium formed because of metaplasia is sometimes indistinguishable from the original squamous epithelium. That is the second slide. So now we cannot distinguish the original and the new SCJ. That is the squamocolumnar junction. So again, this transformation zone is the most crucial zone of the cervix. Human papilloma virus, that is the HPV infection, may induce the malignant transformation of cells over this area. As a result, cervical neoplasms begin in this transformation zone only. Adequate evaluation of the zone is essential to identify the neoplastic lesions. Delineation of the transformation zone is also important to treat the precancerous lesions. The active transformation zone is where the process of metaplasia is continuing or under progress, or where the cervical intraepithelial neoplasia has developed. So this is the ongoing process. So in ongoing process, the HPV infection can affect this process. The transformation zone may have of the features of metaplasia, like crypts openings, then the nabothiensis, that is the chronic erosion or the islands of columnar epithelium, fine mosaic or the punctations. These are the mosaic patterns, or the punctations or the acetovite epithelium. Hence, pap smear or cervical biopsy should be taken from this transformation zone. Hence, it is necessary to identify the new HCJ and the original HCJ and the transformation zone. So normally we are taking the pap smear in camps or anywhere else. Like we insert the cannula or the spatula or the brush and we just take the pap smear. That's why most of the times pap smear comes just inflammatory or negative. So we cannot identify the high risk patients in pap smear because of we are not identifying the SCJ or the transformation zones. So cervical carcinoma develops mainly within the transformation zone, that is in the region where the squamoepithelial metaplasia occurs. So here you can see the SIL low and high. So again, I am repeating this, I think, for third time because it is the main important points of the cervical cancer. LSIL, that is CIN1 and mild dysplasia. HSIL, that is the high grade squamous intraepithelial lesion. CIN2, CIN3. In CIN2, we have moderate and severe. And AIS, that is the CIN3. So in Ayurveda, we have the potential up to CIN2 in the prevention background. Again, I repeat, CIN1 is the least severe compared to mild dysplasia. CIN2 is moderately severe compares to moderate dysplasia. CIN3 is more severe. It describes both severe dysplasia and carcinoma in situ, a very early stage of cancer in which tumor cells have not yet invaded the surrounding tissues. So CIN graded. CIN is the gradation system on a scale of 1 to 3, how abnormal cervical tissue looks under the microscope. So again, in details, cellular changes associated with HPV infection, such as koilocytes, are also commonly seen in CIN. CIN1, the least risky type, represents only mild dysplasia, abnormal cell growth confined to basal 1/3 of the epithelium, corresponds to the infection with HPV typically will be cleared by immune response in a year or so, though can take several years to clear. So we have potential in CIN1. CIN2, moderate dysplasia confined to basal 2/3 of the epithelium. And CIN3, more than 2/3 of the epithelium may involve the full thickness. And this condition may be referred as cervical carcinoma in situ. So these are the interpretation in cancer: dysplasia, mild dysplasia, moderate dysplasia, severe dysplasia, carcinoma in situ. Dysplasia is precancerous region, precancerous lesion, which includes CIN1, CIN2, CIN3, and after that mild, moderate, severe, and carcinoma in situ, invasive cancer, and adenocarcinoma. So again, dysplasia. I think I am repeating the some slides, but for the confirmation of the stages, it is important. I think everyone is now having the clear idea about the dysplasia, metaplasia, and CIN1, CIN2, CIN3, and cervical cancer in situ. So this is the advanced cervical cancer. In this stage, all cervical ligaments, McEnroe's, uterosacral ligaments are invaded with the cervical tissue. Hence, other pelvic organs, sacrum, the hip bone, the lower vertebral column have metastatic changes in them. Hence, most of them, this condition is referred as frozen pelvis, where that is the 4th A, 4th B. All pelvic organs stick together. This is inoperable condition. In this situation, Ayurveda also offer only the palliative treatment. So again, this is the types of hysterectomy. So in up to 3rd A stage, the radical hysterectomy can be done, or the total hysterectomy also can be done. But in total hysterectomy, or in grade 3A, 3B, the radical hysterectomy or the Vardhan's hysterectomy is done. Total hysterectomy with removal of pelvic lymph nodes, dissection of obturator fossa, paracervical tissue, and the upper 1/3 of vagina is removed. I'm not talking about the surgical methods right now because my subject is with the Ayurvedic insights. Okay. So just to have idea about whether to stop and whether to refer, or whether to do the surgical intervention, I am elaborating these slides. Then this is the lymphatic spread in advanced CA cancer, cancer cervix. In such cases, that organ surgeon removes all the metastatic lymph nodes by deep dissection. So you can see here the distant metastasis is also 27%. The sacrum, the paracervical, the obturator, the inguinal. So this is the lymphatic spread in the advanced CA cervix. So now coming to the philosophy of cancer, that is, how does the cancer form? So cancer is a disease where the cells divide uncontrollably and spread into surrounding tissues. So these are the normal cells and the cancer cells. Now let us see the Samanya Samprapti of the cancer. So cancer is caused by the changes in the DNA. We can think here the Vikruti of Shukradhara Kala and Dhanvantargat Shukra. Here, immune system cells can detect and attack the cancer cells. Here we can think of Dhatu Saratva and Vedic Shamatva of the patient. For example, the patient is having Rakta Saratva, and then patient can have more chances of cure in blood-related cancers. Mouse-SAR patient will fight more and have more chances of getting cure in mouse-related cancers like cervical cancer. So in patients of cervical cancer, if we want to have more good prognosis, the patient should be mouse-SAR. In mouse-SAR patient, we get good prognosis. In Shukrasara patient, we will have better results who are having the ovarian or the breast cancers. Rakta and Medosar patients will have better results in Sera-related cancers like endometrial cancers. So from the Saratva point of view, in the treatment of cancer patient, it is essential to examine the Prakruti and Dhatu Saratva as well to have an idea about the prognosis. That is the Sadhya Sadhyatva. If you know the Sadhya Sadhyatva from Ayurvedic point of view and not from the stages explained in the modern science, we can treat the patient better. We can give better quality of life to the patient. Because the radiotherapy and the chemotherapy will hamper the quality of life of the patient. So if we know the Prakruti and Saratva of the patient, we can offer the at least better quality of life. Genetic changes can be inherited, that is the Sahaja Vikruti, or arise from the certain environmental exposures of lifestyle disorders or stress. All these can be correlated with Ahar, Vihar and Manasa and Kala Vikruti. Hence, to treat the patient, we should have proper life history, lifestyle history of the patient, and so that we can establish proper pathophysiology, that is the Samprapti. Here we can differentiate the Hetu in Nija and Agantuja. So viruses, that is the HPV virus here, and other viruses, chemicals, we can treat these factors as Agantuja. And these Nija and Agantuja Hetu create the Sthana Vaigunya in the cervix. That is the cervical Sthana Vaigunya. Then what is metastasis? Here the cancer cells can break away from the primary tumor and travel through the blood or the lymph to the distant locations in the body. That is the Vimarga Gamana, and form new tumors. Wherever they get Sthana Vaigunya means the organ is where the organ is weak, the metastasis is there. So some school of thought or some other Vaidyas think that the Abhyantar Visarpagati, here we have to think about the Abhyantar Visarpagati to have an idea about the metastasis. Hence, history of previous major illnesses or the accidents or the major surgery is needed to think of Sthana Vaigunya. Hence, Ayurveda can arrange the speed of getting metastasis, further considering the Dhatu Srotodushti. Ayurveda can give treatment to improve Dhatu Parampara. Hence, role of Shodhan Chikitsa, if Rugnabala is good, followed by the Rasayan Chikitsa becomes significant in the treatment of cancer. This is the Samanya Chikitsa. This can do in all types of cancers. As we have limited time, it is very difficult to elaborate each type of cancer in detail. Hence, I have explained Samanya Samprapti and Samanya Chikitsa. So here the role of Ayurveda in management of women cancer, we can offer as a preventive measure, as a curative non-surgical treatment in precancerous stages like VIN, CIN, etc. Here is CIN. As an adjuvant therapy or to radiotherapy or chemotherapy to reduce side effects in second and third stage of cancer. As a palliative therapy, pain management in the last stage of cancer. And as an Abonarbo Chikitsa to avoid metastasis or relapse in surgically cured cancers. Role of Ayurveda here as a preventive measure in cervical cancer. To avoid cervical cancer, we offer Rajaswala Paricharya, Sutika Paricharya, even after induced MTP, spontaneous abortion or LSCS or normal delivery, regular vaginal hygiene after coitus, Shodhan Chikitsa for systemic detoxification and purification, followed by Rasayan Chikitsa. It is necessary to follow Rajaswala Paricharya, Sutika Paricharya and regular vaginal hygiene to stay away from the HPV infections. During menstruation and postpartum period, the vaginal pH is very much alkaline. Any infections can ascend the reproductive system. remember about the squamous metaplasia, how it occurs in the presence of acidic pH. So in Rajaswala Avastha, then the Sutika Avastha, we have the alkaline pH. So any infections can ascend the reproductive system in alkaline pH. Hence, following rules and regulations like Yoni Dhupan processes, etc., prescribed in our Samhitas and explained by our acharyas will reduce the chances of HPV infection and further the cervical cancer. The diet, behavior, and the classical Ayurvedic medicines during these paricharyas will improve the Dhatu Parampara and can increase immunity so that the Sthana Vaigunya will not remain in the genital tract. Just remember my initial slide, that is the transient HPV infection and the persistent infection. If Sthana Vaigunya is there, the HPV infection will be persistent and that can progress up to the cervical cancers. So this paricharya will decrease the chances of getting cervical cancer, decrease the rate of the HPV infections also. So if genital tract is having good immunity against all kind of infection, then the HPV infection would also could not sustain. So it will, if it is happen, it will go in regression immediately. So Dhupan Chikitsa in Sutika Paricharya helps to eradicate all kind of infection. Then Yoni Dhavan Chikitsa also alters the vaginal pH and increases the immunity against all kind of infection. So Arbuda, in Amor Kosh, we have the Aram Bundati, Aramiti Shigram, that is the disease which grows very fast and causes either destruction of local tissues or body part, or himsa, that means even death. We can correlate the advanced CA cervix of to the Raktaja Arbuda. This is incurable asadhya. Dallan says that it is fast growing muscular lump. It involves blood vessels. It is associated with Mausankur, that is muscular sprouts or moist discharges. There is continuous and excessive discharge of abnormal blood. Clinically also, we can get the signs like bleeds on touch during PV examination or bleeding after coitus symptom in such patients. Most of the times, the cervical cancer starts from the chronic cervical inflammatory changes. Hence, we can correlate with Vranashoth or Dushta Vrana. Ekadeshiya Shoth has localized vitiated doshas, collected below the skin, epithelium and the Mausadhatu. Sushruta also elaborates the Utpatti of Arbuda is from the collection of Mausadhatu. So we can, precancerous stage, we can correlate with the Dushta Varna or Vranashotha. Charak has also included the Arbuda in Mausa Pradoshaja Vyadhi. Sushruta explains the Yoni Arsha, which is characterized by the characterized with the presence of multiple umbrella-shaped muscular sprouts, Stravina, Chatrakara, and Karira and Janayanti, in any part of female reproductive organ having, and those are having foul smell, Durgandhan, Pichila, Rudirasravan, blood stain discharge, or mucus and blood stain discharge or bleeding. So in this situation, the dosh is Vata Pitta Pradhan and Kafanubandhi. Rasa, Rakta, Mausa and Shukradhatu are involved. So Sushruta has included the Mausakandi, means the muscular sprouts under Lekhya Vyadhi. We can do the Lekhan Chikitsa in such conditions. The treatment is the local destruction by means of Kshara, Agni and Shastra. In modern science also we get chemical cauterization, and also as we see in the colposcopy slides, the thermal or electrical cryocauterization or surgical removal of conical excision or leap of the cervix. So these are the Shastra, Kshara, Agni. With the help of these methods, we can do the treatment. Soft spreading, big, wide, deep-rooted protuberant. Mrudu, Prasuta, Avagada. soft, spreading, prasuta, spreading, big, wide, deep-rooted, gadha, avagada, and protuberant, uchritani, are curable with kshara. Hence, in initial stages of CA cervix, kshara pratisaran helps a lot. Commentator Indu also, I think, mentioned kshara karma treatment for the upadansha. Probably this eradicates the HPV infection, I think. So, and I'm using such kind of upadanshagna kalpa in HPV infections. Then in Sthanik Chikitsa, we can do Yoni Dhawan, Yoni Pichu, Kshara Pratisaran and leech application. Apamarga Kshara Pratisaran, other Kshara also can be used, but I am using Apamarga Kshara on regular basis for many years. This is a Mrudu Kshara and it is giving good results. As Garbhashya is Mrudu, Matruja Avayav, Mrudu Avayav, then the cancer is also Rakta Mausa Pradhan. So I am using this Mrudu Kshara. Then Yoni Dhawan Chikitsa, many herbal decoctions can be used for the Yoni Dhawan. These are just guidelines. You can use any of these also, or other you can customize according to the symptoms. Trifala, Daruharidra, Jeshtamat, Dashamula, Panchavalkala, Shweta Chandana, Sariva, any herb you can use. Then for Yoni Pichu, you can use Jatyadi Tel, Vranaropak Tel, Jatyadi Ghruta also you can use, Yashti Madhu Tel, Panchavalkala Tel, Lodhra Tel, any again customize Haridradi Tel. You can customize according to the system, according to the patient. Then here also you can use I think Parishek Dhara or Parishek or Dhara of Jatyadi Tel Shatadauta Ghruta to reduce pain in advanced stages. You can directly put the medicines in the vagina by using syringe if it is possible. But I have seen many cases in Tarachan of last stages of cervical cancer where the vagina is totally blocked with the tumor. In such scenario, we can apply leech application, which is used to reduce the pain. It is I'm using such in advanced stages. But otherwise, if you get vaginal canal, you can introduce the directly medicines like Ghruta Taila in the vagina by using the syringe. Then you can put lap or local application of Shatadauta Ghruta on lower abdomen or on the vulva or the vaginal area to reduce daha by chemotherapy and radiotherapy. Also, you can use Durva to reduce daha. You can use Mauktik Bhasma, you can use Hirak Bhasma, Vaikrant Bhasma. There are many kalpas here. Normally, I used to elaborate the main Naidanic part. So, if you are perfect with the Naidanic part and the diagnostic point of view, then you can use any medicines. Our Granthas are full of medicines. You can use any medicines or you can customize any medicine. Then internally also you can use Sariva, Tiktapatol, Gokshur, Shatavari, then the Godanti Bhasma, Praval Bhasma, Amruta Sattva, Muktik Bhasma, Vyadhiharan Ras, which is used in Upadansha. Then the Firanga, you can use this. Then the Pratap Lankeshwar, Sutika Bharan, Bhratva Chintamani, Suvarna Bhasma, Devdar Vedikwat, Maharasnadikwat, many kalpas are there. So we can use a lot of medicines according to the stage and the symptoms of the patient. And these are the just few of them to have an idea. So I think I am done with my presentation, and thank you so much, Nima OBGY Central, for giving me this opportunity to share my views. And again, I am thankful to the organizers and Dr. Priyanka Madam, Dr. Premraj, Dr. Dhanashri. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an informative and wonderful session and different lookout at cancer through Ayurveda. One request is there to all the participants to please fill up the feedback form. Link is given in the chat box to get the certificates. Now, I would like to request Dr. Deepali Rajput ma'am to conduct question and answer session. Deepali ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Dhanashree. Thank you, Pragna ma'am, for very informative and knowledgeable session.
Thank you.
I request participants, if you do have any questions, please raise your hand or put a message in the chat box. We have received some questions earlier, ma'am.
Yes,
I would
yes,
like
yes.
to ask.
Yeah. Just check
Ma'am,
it.
I would like to ask.
Huh.
Sorry.
Yes.
We have a question from Priya Chawla. Can you share some cases of CIN which you have treated and you got best results?
Yes. I have treated CIN up to cases like CIN 1 and not CIN 2, but CIN 1 that is get reversed with our treatment. I have done the Kshara Pratisaran twice, 15 days sittings. Then internally also I have given her medicines, and HPV. I have treated many patients of HPV infection with our internal medication and the Yoni Dhawan treatment. So we get good results with for the HPV infection and the initial stages of cervical cancer.
Okay. I want to ask, ma'am, you have mentioned the leech therapy for advanced CA cervix cases. Where should we apply the leech?
Correct. We can apply in the groin area, and also you can apply on the vulva. You can get the good results with those.
Okay. And already married or a sexually active woman can have the HPV vaccination?
They can have. Yeah. Normally, the indication of HPV vaccine, the vaccine is the before the first intercourse. But it is recommended that you can take, if you are not HPV positive, you can take at least.
And those who have taken the vaccination should undergo the screening as per the
Yes,
routine?
definitely. Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Because only 70% cover is there, not the full coverage.
Okay. Again, one thing, ma'am. Are there any side effects or contraindications for HPV vaccination?
Side effects
Or contraindications?
Contraindications. There are no as such side effects has been seen. I'm giving cervical vaccine for many years. No such side effects. But the contraindication, also no contraindication. If the patient is having a reaction to the first dose, then that will be the contraindication. Otherwise, there is no contraindication.
Okay. And ma'am, if any elderly patient with if she is having previous normal pap smear and now she changed her sexual partner or is having new sexual partner, which screening method should we advise her?
First, you should consult a gynecologist first, do detailed pelvic examination. And if you are finding some abnormal cervix or any symptoms like white discharge or anything like that, then go for first pap smear, then go for colposcopy. If you the indication of colposcopy is the positive pap smear, no? So, or the liquid based cytology, that is the best. So you can go for liquid based cytology.
Nowadays, they are recommending the HPV test. Then which one is better, HPV or pap smear?
HPV is better, but both are actually, with the pap smear we can assess the sthana vaigunya, na? Look, there are two factors. With pap smear or colposcopy, we get an idea about the sthana vaigunya, how the cervix is bad. That idea we get. Okay, and HPV is the only the presence of virus.
Okay.
If your cervix is good, then HPV अगर है भी तो वो कुछ कर नहीं पाएगा. It will get regressed. Okay. If your cervix is bad and HPV is also there, then it will definitely affect your cervix. So both are HPV detection is to find a virus, and the pap smear
Okay.
or colposcopy is to find the sthana vaiguna or the assess the cervix, cervical health.
Okay, we have one more question from Dr. Namita. Can
Hmm.
using condom avoid HPV infection and cervical cancer?
Yes, little bit. But nowadays they are promoting ki HPV can be just with the friction also. That not means only the if groin friction and thigh friction is also there, the HPV can be transmitted. Nowadays these such research papers are there. So only condoms is not the final prevention method. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Priya want to ask that are there any instructions to be followed by patients after receiving the vaccine, Cervarix or Gardasil?
As such, no, they have to follow the regime, the protocol. The first is 0, then 1, and then after 6 months. This is the normal schedule जो रहता है, वो miss नहीं करना है. And otherwise, there is no rules, nothing.
Okay. And one question from my end. Can you elaborate the concept of Granthi and Artav with respect to female reproductive system?
Granthi Artav.
No, Granthi and Arbud. Sorry, Granthi and
Arbud. Artav. You have said Artav, na? So I just. Correct. Arbud is if we translate this, the Arbuda is a tumor. It's a solid, okay, solid thing, and the Granthi is a cyst-like condition. That is the covering having the something liquid inside it. This is the basic difference. The Granthi and Arbuda.
Okay. Again, ma'am, can you elaborate the role of Pratap Lankeshwar and Sutika Bharan? You earlier mentioned is at internal medicine for the treatment.
Correct. So most of the time, the patients are not following the Sutika Paricharya. Na? So the action of Sutika Bharan and the Pratap Lankeshwar is on the cervical health, the cervical tissues and ligaments involved in it. So most of the times, if the patient is not still Sutika and she has not followed the Sutika Paricharya, still we can use these medicines afterwards also. Those medicines can remove the Sutika dosh afterwards also. So if you are using those medicines, we can reverse the process of the metastasis or the this is just the idea. This is my opinion. Not everyone has same opinion, but I am treating or giving such medicines in the patients who are not following the Sutika Paricharya. So after the completion of Sutika Kal also, likewise after the 10 years, 15 years, or in the menopausal age also, I am using such kalpas and I am getting the good results.
Thank you. Again, one more question from Dr. Namita. What drugs are generally used for Unithupan when patient is HPV positive?
Good question. Yeah, when a patient is HPV positive, you can use Nimba leaves or Nimba twak powder. Churna jo rehta hai, wo you can use for that. Then you can use Bakuchi, then Vidanga. Those are having the Crumigna actions. So I'm using those regularly. So we will get the good results with this.
Okay. Ma'am, nowadays, most of the Rotary clubs, they are organizing the cancer screening camps. They use the VI method, visual inspection under with acetic acid.
Correct.
How much is it reliable?
It is reliable up to certain condition. जैसे मैंने जैसे कहा था कि inspection जो हमें करना है, तो at least we could find the SCJ junction na, with this VI inspection, correct? So iodine और acetic acid लगाने के बाद अगर SCJ junction में कुछ हमें abnormality दिखती है, तो at least you can forward such patients to different center for the biopsy, na? Otherwise, to you also, you can also take the biopsy. So we can segregate such patient at the time of camp कि इनमें ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है, VIK में इसमें हमें समझ में आया कि अरे नहीं, इनमें SCJ जंक्शन में कुछ तो दिखाई दे रहा है, तो we will differentiate those patients, and वो जो पेशेंट अलग आएंगे उनका अलग कैंप लेना है कि उनका फिर पैप्समियर या फिर कोल्पोस्कोपी करके बायोप्सी करके फिर तो तभी सभी सही मायने में कैंप का जो ये है हमारा एम है वो सक्सेसफुल होगा। अदरवाइज सब पेशेंट सिर्फ VIA करके क्या करेंगे, सिर्फ देखा और चले गए, कुछ नहीं होगा। सो आफ्टर आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन जोन एंड दैट एबनॉर्मल SCJ, वो डिफरेंशिएट करके उनको आगे लेके जाना है हमें। तो और
मतलब हमारे क्लिनिक में तो हमने VIA के लिए नहीं जाना चाहिए ना, VIA शुड आइदर गो फॉर HPV और पैप्समियर, इट विल बी
नहीं,
मोर
VIA तो हम रेगुलर OPD प्रोसेस के लिए कर सकते हैं ना। जैसे पेशेंट आती है हमारे पास कुछ है करके, जनरल PV एग्जामिनेशन कर लो, VIA कर लो, उसमें अगर पता चलता है कि कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, देन पेशेंट को आपको नेक्स्ट सेशन में बुलाना है, फिर यू कैन डू दैट। हाँ, तो जैसे मेरे पास अभी पेशेंट आई, मैंने देखा और उसको मैं बोलूंगी कि भाई 2 दिन के बाद या जैसे भी टाइम हो कल आ जाना, हम आगे का टेस्ट करेंगे।
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, at
Is
what
anyone
stage
having
we should
question?
stop the screening? Means after which findings we should stop the screening of the patient?
It is a good question again. What is the schedule is when you are having the positive pap smear, then you have to do the screening regularly, at least yearly. Okay, that depends upon what results you are getting from the screening. When the patient is normal for normal screening for successive 3 pap smears, then you can ask her to come after 5 years. 5 years के बाद भी normally है, तो up to I think up to 65 to 70 age तक बुलाना चाहिए, उसके बाद जरूरत नहीं. But you can reduce the visits if the smear or the result is normal. And if it is not abnormal, then you have to ask her to visit you regularly after 1 year or 6 months, depending upon the stages.
Dr. Rima wanted to ask something. Dr. Rima?
Hello, ma'am. If the patient is having a dominant acetovite, like persistent acetovite lesion constantly for a year and more than a year, and if she has tested negative for pap smear, biopsy, and other tests, even the HPV, this DNA assay, then what should be our protocol followed? And if she has taken, she is married and but no children yet, and what should be done then?
This is जैसे मैंने अभी देखा, अभी squamous metaplasia is a healing process, correct? This is not, the metaplasia is not a cancerous thing. That's why I have taken this in detail, correct? Dysplasia is the precancerous condition. Metaplasia is a healing process. So it is okay ना, कोई problem नहीं है.
So, ma'am, acetovite lesion means nothing if she is testing negative for all the.
Correct. This is the healing हुआ है ना. अभी healing process हर एक की अलग अलग होगी ना. जैसे कोई भी अभी हम इंसिजन लेते हैं तो किसी का किलॉइड फॉर्मेशन हो जाता है, किसी का एकदम स्किन पूरा नॉर्मल हो जाता है. तो ये क्यों होता है? दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द हीलिंग कैपेसिटी ऑफ दैट पेशेंट. ओके, दैट इज अगेन कम टू द सारत्व अगेन इफ वी थिंक फ्रॉम द आयुर्वेदिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. तो अगर उसमें बाकी कोई साइंस एंड सिम्टम्स नहीं है, HPV नेगेटिव है एंड द रिपोर्ट्स आर आल्सो नॉर्मल, देन इट्स जस्ट द हीलिंग. द फाइब्रोसिस हो गया है उसका, बाकी कुछ नहीं है. Leave it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, one more question. Up to what stage we can use the Kshar Chikitsa? To what stage of CIN?
I think CIN 1, because जैसे मैंने कहा था CIN 1, इसीलिए मैंने स्टेजेस भी डिटेल लिए थे आपके. तो CIN 1 में मैंने जैसे कहा था कि only 1/3 of the epithelium is involved. So it is just 1 millimeter. So our Kshar has capacity to penetrate up to 1 or 2 millimeters. So CIN 1 तक तो कर सकते ही है. CIN 2 में थोड़ा ज्यादा करना पड़ेगा सिटिंग्स मेरे ख्याल में. लेकिन आफ्टर दैट नो, अप टू CIN2 वी कैन ट्राई.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Correct.
One more question from Dr. Namita. Can Vasti will be helpful while treating CS cervix?
बस्ती,
Yes, ma'am.
बस्ती का ज्यादा रोल नहीं दिखाई देता CA सर्विक्स में. If it is in advanced stages, if it is spread up to the rectum, तो है. लेकिन वात व्याधि करके अगर इसका हम देखते हैं तो इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट. तो बस्ती, आई डोंट थिंक कि बस्ती का कुछ ज्यादा रोल रहेगा. बट टू हैव द प्रॉपर वात की गति वगैरह, उसके लिए अगर उसकी संप्राप्ति में कुछ अगर है फैक्टर्स वैसे अपान दृष्टि के, तो इसका रोल रहेगा. लेकिन ऐसे प्रोटोकॉल में सबको बस्ती देना है करके नहीं होगा.
Okay, ma'am.
There are some questions, Dr. Dipali.
Role of Agnikarma, breast cancer, cervical cancer. Please elaborate. I'm what there are some 1 minute. Now, role of Agnikarma नॉर्मल अभी मॉडर्न साइंस वाले तो करते ही है, लेजर तो यूज करते हैं वो. हमें भी जैसे अगर लेजर के बजाय हमारा अग्निकर्म करे तो हो सकता है. तो सुवर्णशला का हमें यूज करनी पड़ेगी, स्मॉल पॉइंटेड, बिकॉज मृदु है, सुवर्ण हैज द एंटी कैंसरस रोल. तो कर सकते, करके देखना पड़ेगा. मैंने कभी किया नहीं है, एज इट इज अ रक्तज एंड सुकुमार ना, तो अग्निकर्म का यूज नहीं किया है मैंने अभी तक कभी. लेकिन अगर करूंगी तो इसका करना पड़ेगा, सुवर्ण शलाका का. एंड ब्रेस्ट कैंसर एंड सर्वाइकल कैंसर का रिलेशन कोई नहीं है. ब्रेस्ट कैंसर एंड द एंडोमेट्रियल कैंसर एंड ओवेरियन कैंसर आर को रिलेटेड. सर्वाइकल कैंसर इज टोटली डिफरेंट, उसका रिलेशन है ही नहीं. मतलब दोनों एक साथ हो सकते, दैट इज डिफरेंट. लेकिन सर्वाइकल कैंसर हुआ इसलिए ब्रेस्ट कैंसर हुआ ऐसे नहीं होता है, क्योंकि सर्वाइकल कैंसर का पैथोलॉजी जो है वो HPV से आगंतुज हेतु से प्रभावित है. और ब्रेस्ट कैंसर एंड एंडोमेट्रियल, ऑल दीज आर हार्मोनल एंड अदर फैक्टर्स आर देयर.
आहे बरी, काय जायचंय आज माझं. ते 7 नंतर येतात ना, तर 7 ला जाऊ. म्हणजे माझं नेब्युलायझेशन मी घेते तिथे, त्यांना दाखवते. मला वाटतं येता येता एक्सरे पण काढू.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Ma'am, Dr. Manisha here.
Okay. Proceed, ma'am, with your question.
Yes, I have a question, ma'am. In highly suspected cervic cancer cases, we can do directly biopsy in spite of doing pap smear or colposcopy.
Ma'am, you are not audible. Ma'am, we can't hear you.
So sorry. You can, I would recommend that you should go for biopsy under colposcopic guidance, because under colposcopy we have the magnifying image of the cervix na. So we will get the proper SCJ junction, the transformation zone, and the proper biopsy we can take, and we can get the proper result.
Okay, ma'am.
Next question.
Is anyone having questions? You can raise your hand or message in chat box. I think no more questions, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Pradna ma'am. Now
Thank
I
you
would
so
like
much.
to request Dr.
Conclude.
Dhanashri for
Yeah.
vote of thanks. Dr. Dhanashri.
Okay, you proceed, ma'am.
Okay.
Dr. Dipali, proceed with.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Dipali.
It was very good and informative lecture, ma'am. You covered
Thank
all
you.
the aspects from the basic and advanced treatment and management protocol also. I would like to thank you very much from the NEMA OBGY Society. Thank you very
Thank you,
much once
madam.
again, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, it was really a wonderful session, I should say. And we would like to see you in the next part of our seminar or in our webinars also. So today's session was really very nice. Thank you so
madam.
much for giving us time from your busy schedule. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
And on behalf of NEMA OBGY Society Central and Maharashtra body, I would like to express my gratitude to the President of NEMA Central, Dr. Vinayak Temburnekar sir, Dr. Ashutosh Kulkarni sir, and Dr. U.S. Pandey sir for their remarkable support. I extend my gratitude to our NEMA OBGY Central President, Dr. Kamini Dhiman, Secretary, Dr. Priyanka Nakade ma'am, Treasurer, Dr. Vishnu Bhavne sir, for supporting and guiding us to conduct today's webinar. I would like to thanks and extend my gratitude to our eminent speaker, Dr. Pradnya Aptikar ma'am, for giving her valuable time for us.
Can I leave now?
Yeah, thank you so much,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Yes.
I would further extend my gratitude to all my participants and the NEMA OBGY Maharashtra, Dr. Suhas Herlikar sir, Dr. Manoj Gaikwad sir, and Treasurer Dr. Ajay Raj Bal sir for their support. I would like to thank Dr. Daga sir and Dr. Archana for the technical help. I would like to thank all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dipali ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dhanashri ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, I declare the session is over now.
लगा दिए खत्म होने वाला होगा 20-25 मिनट लग जाएगा
बंद हो जाएगा फोन चला जाऊं पॉइंट मारेगी ना